Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be discussing about the role of current affairs for the UPSC Engineering Services examination. Initially we'll look at the syllabus mentioned for the current affairs, then we will look at the trend of questions from previous years that have been asked, and in today's video we will also be live solving some PYQs based on current affairs, and at the end I will tell you different takeaways that you need to keep in mind while approaching and preparing for the current affairs content. So it's very important to understand the syllabus mentioned for the current affairs. There will be questions from current issues of national and international importance relating to social, economic and industrial development. So whenever we prepare for current affairs, we either look at a newspaper, or there are different magazines that we go through, and there are some websites as well where we read about the latest news, and we also look at different TV channels, right? So to categorize the relevant content, or to understand what is relevant and what is not, we need to understand that there are three domains that is already mentioned in the syllabus: social, economic and industrial development. So any news that is in the social, economic or industrial development category will become relevant for our examination. So this is the point you need to keep in mind. कुछ भी सोशल रिलेटेड आ जाए, कुछ भी इकोनॉमिक रिलेटेड आ जाए, या फिर कुछ इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट रिलेटेड न्यूज़ आ जाए, वो हमारे एग्जाम के लिए रेलेवेंट हो जाएगी. And in this way we can easily categorize things. Now let's look at the trend of questions that have been asked. In here I've taken into consideration only 3 years. From 2023 there were 15 questions that were asked, so that is 2 marks per question, right? So approximately there were 30 marks based on current affairs. In 2022 there were 14 questions, that means there were 28 marks from current affairs, and similarly in the year 2021 there were 34 marks asked from the current affair section alone, right? I am talking about the paper 1. So in paper 1 is of 200 marks, and from these 200 marks you can easily score around 30 to 32 marks if you have decently prepared current affairs of last 6 to 7 months. If you have read the current affairs, if you have regularly been through the current affairs of the last 6 to 7 months, you would easily score 30 to 32 marks, right? So this was the general trend from the past 3 years. Now let's look at the previous year questions from 2023 paper 1. I will be solving these questions with you, and I will also be telling you few from where the question was asked and how relevant it was, right? So see, the first question is about Government of India has moved the resolution of UN General Assembly to declare the year 2023 as International Year of Millets, of which of the following reason. So here they have asked what is Government of India's reason to move the resolution about International Year of Millets. So if you have read it in the news, you would know that the main reason was to create. What was the main reason? It was to create domestic and global. I'm talking about creating domestic and global demand. Creating domestic and global demand, and to provide nutritional food to the people. This was one of the main reasons, right? What was it? Creating demand. Now let's look at these two options that they have given. It says to support support will be provided post harvest value addition, enhancing domestic consumption. Then the second statement says support will be provided for branding millet productions nationally and internationally. If you see, the main reason is to create demand. Over here the word used is support, right? So our answer will be B. Neither one is correct, neither two is correct, right? So over here you had a basic understanding about what is it and what is the main reason, so you can easily get through the answer, right? Now let's move on to the next question. Now this talks about a scheme, Mahila Kisan Sashastikaran Pariyojana. If you have read it, you know this is a scheme that is being implemented from the Department of Agriculture. Even if you have not read it, you can easily get to it, because if you read the scheme name, it says it is something related to Kisan. So something related to Kisan is generally implemented by Department of Agriculture. So you can easily say it is implemented by Department of Agriculture. So this is the first point. Then the second point about the scheme is, it is saying that it is going to provide 30% of the expenditure on women to improve their position in agriculture. This is what the scheme is saying. Okay, yes, and it also says that it is going to provide more opportunities. It is also going to provide more opportunities for women in agriculture, right? So you have read about this, you have read only this much about this scheme, say for example. So you can easily get through this answer. Let's look at the options. First one says to create sustainable agriculture livelihood opportunities for women. Yes, we did see that opportunities for women in agriculture is true. Second one says to ensure food and nutrition security level at the household. Yes, this is also true, because it is implemented by the Department of Agriculture, and this will be one of the important objective. Now next thing, so this is also correct. The third one, to enable women, see it says enable women to have better access to input and services of the government and other agencies. This is also correct, because it says it is the 30% of expenditure is going to be put on women to bring them in the mainstream and to provide more opportunities to empower her. So this is also correct. Now look at the fourth statement. It says to help women educate the rural folk and improve their living condition. Now you can see there is this term educate over here, right? But here we are talking about providing opportunities in agriculture, right? So the last statement is wrong, and that is why D is the answer. Which of the following is not right? So our answer is D. Now let's move on to the next. Now here they are talking about the Jal Jevan Mission, right? Now what all do we know about Jal Jevan Mission if we have studied? First of all, we know the slogan. What is the slogan? You have heard it a lot of times in the news. Har Ghar Jal, right? Har Ghar Jal is the slogan of the scheme. And what is its main aim? Main aim is to provide drinking water. Main aim is to provide drinking water, safe drinking water in all households in rural India. And you, if you have read the news, you would also know that it seeks to achieve by 2024, right? So now let's look at the questions. Now see, we know this, the mission seeks to achieve the goal by 2024. This is correct, right? This is correct. Then we all also know that the slogan is Har Ghar Jal. So see, Har Ghar Jal, this is also what we know. Say for example, you don't know what these two options mean, but you know option 2 and option 4 is correct because you have read in the news, right? Now you can see option 2 is here, option 4 is here, option 2 is here, option 4 is here. So C and A will be eliminated. You have these two options, right? Now let's look at this. Now we have to prove that both these are correct or none of these are correct, right? Now if you see, it seeks to ensure ease of living, which leads to healthier as well as hygienic living conditions in the rural area. And the third statement says, by ensuring community participation at village level, It will help in developing local leadership based on Gandhiji's philosophy of Gram Swarajya. Yes. Now this is a scheme that aims for giving hygienic water, right? That means if the water is hygienic, everything else will be hygienic in the rural areas. So this is also true, and therefore our answer is option B. Right? Now let's move on to the next question. Okay. Now the Sustainable Development Goals, India Agenda for Development, right? Zero hunger as per Sustainable Development Goals, India Agenda for Development. This is something that is released by Niti Aayog, right? Now what the question says is, select the states and or union territories of India which have been ranked first in Zero Hunger Index. Now this is a very, you cannot eliminate any option from this. You have to directly know the answer, and for this you have to read the reports. So if you have read the report, this is a very easy question. The answer is B. Kerala is the state with which has ranked first as Zero Hunger, and Chandigarh is the union territory that has been ranked with Zero Hunger, right? So this is our answer. Now next is when it's about the Wassenaar Agreement, which is also called as WA. Now if you have seen this in the news, this year from January 2023, India has assumed the chairmanship. India has assumed the chairmanship of WA. So therefore this was in news, right? So therefore you need to know, if India is assuming the chairmanship of WA, then you need to know basics about WA. And if you have Google searched or read the news in detail, you know that it is a multilateral agreement. It is a multilateral agreement for export control. Multilateral agreement for export control, right? So this is the basic about WA. It is a multilateral export control, right? Agreement for multilateral export control. Now let's look at the options. You can see in option D, which says an agreement which seeks to study recurring cyclones. No, it's not related to cyclones. So eliminate the option D. Now look at option C, concerned with preservation of extinct animal species. No, it has nothing to do with extinct animal species. Next, a group of countries concerned with unconventional energy sources. No, it is not working with energy sources. It is not concerned with any energy sources. Now look at option A. It says it's an elite club of countries which subscribe to arm export control. Yes, export control, it says, is correct, and it is a club of countries. It says club of countries. Yes, we all know that it is a club of 42 states or countries, right? So our answer is option A. So what was in news? That India has assumed chairmanship of WA. This was on news, and with this news or this headline, they have created a question as following. Okay, so in this way, whatever you read in news, you need to have a basic level of understanding related to that topic, right? Now let's move on to the next question. Yes, now this is an activity question for you. I will not solve this question right now here. I want you all to pause the video first, take a screenshot of this and solve this question on your own. This is a very easy question. You do not need any, studying or something. If you have the basic understanding of primary, secondary and tertiary activities, we had also studied this in our school, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector, right? So if you have a basic understanding of these three sectors, you can easily solve this question. So I want you all to pause the video, solve the question, write the answer in the comment section, and what I want you all to do is write the definition of primary, secondary and tertiary sector also write the definition of these three in the comment box. Right, I want you all to do this because I want all these sessions to be a little active learning based, right? So pause this and make sure you complete this activity. Now, next let's look at the takeaways of the video. Firstly, through the questions that I solved, you could have already understood that these reports become very important, right? So throughout the year or throughout last 6 to 8 months, whatever we are going to study current affairs, whatever reports that have been released by all the important organizations, national level and international level, you need to read through the reports, and you need to know the highlights of the reports, right? So if it is an international report, then you need to know India's position or how India has performed, right? And if it is a national report released by any national organization, say for example like Niti Aayog, or say RBI has released some report, or any other national organization is releasing a report, then you need to know the top states that have performed in India, right? So this is how you need to know highlights about different reports. Next is different international organizations and India's position in it. Any schemes that is in these three domains: economic, social and industrial. I have already told you in the first slide, these three domains are very important for us while studying current affairs. And the next thing is technologies and news. Now there was one more question, I just forgot to put it in the video, but there was a question on quantum computing this year in 2023 paper. Why was it? Because quantum computing throughout the year was in news, right? So any latest technologies that are in news, you need to know the basics of that as well, or at least the fundamental concept of that, right? So while preparing for current affairs, these are the 4 points you need to keep in mind, and anything related to these 4 points will become at most important for your preparation. That is all for this video, and what I want to do you to do is to give the answers in the comment box and then leave the video, right? So with this, I'll take your leave and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.